hot June night in Madrid, Liverpool make it 6th. Their name on the trophy yet again. It wasn't their best performance of the season. It may well have been one of their worst, but it really doesn't matter to those Liverpool fans in that stadium and watching around Ireland, in the UK, around the world, celebrating another European Cup. For Tottenham, it was a comeback too far. They played valiantly in that second half, but when the book is written about unlikely heroes of this Champions League campaign, Divock Origi's name will be on the cover. No luck for Harry Kane and for Pochettino tonight, but Graham Souness, I know you want to talk about how badly Liverpool played at some stage, but in this moment, what does this success mean after everything they've been through in the last year or so?
Well, the season they've had, you know, the football they've played, they ran City close. It was only a very special team that pipped them to the Premier League. They've been fantastic all season. Tonight is the worst performance, but that really doesn't matter. You get to a cup final, and as long as you come home with a trophy, that's all that matters. I played in 3 of these, and not one of them was a classic. We lost them. We played football in them, but they weren't great games. But Liverpool tonight, yeah, what did they show? They showed that they got lucky with a penalty. They showed that, you know, they've limited Spurs to shots from outside the box. They showed resilience, which all top teams have. But I just wanted more from them. You know, this was an occasion to send a message out to everybody in the world what a special team they were. And people were watching that and thinking, we weren't very good tonight. But they've saved their worst performance for the most high-profile game they could have been involved in. But you know what? Who cares? Tonight, that trophy's in the Liverpool dressing room. That'll be in the Liverpool hotel, and tomorrow it'll be going around the city of Liverpool. Who cares?
I don't think there's a single one of those Liverpool fans who do care, Niall. But was it that desire, that knowledge that this was such a big night for them after the defeat last year and coming second in the league?
Yes.
Just had to get over the line tonight.
Yeah, and I think that meant the performance didn't flow as normal. I thought they paid more attention to that resolute side, that resilient side that you have to show, and we were trying to find some sort of creativity that Liverpool's midfield took part in all night, and we couldn't. We went back on the reel before the final whistle. We're thinking, you know, have they done any? But no, but the opposite of that was they put a really good sterling performance off the ball. They supported each other, they worked hard, and sometimes the nasty side of the game is the thing that wins you. Your game and your moments. And they got luck with the penalty, I think. That's a real tough rule. Origi takes a great finish at the end, but there was a lot of just old-fashioned roll the sleeves up and compete and make sure we keep Spurs out. And though that's the way the thing panned out, sometimes, you know, despite some amazing moments and amazing patches of play in earlier games and the incredible tournament we've had, to close it out, that's what they had to do, and they did it.
Whether they deserved it on tonight's performance, Brian, is it hard to argue that Liverpool team don't deserve something?
There's no argument to say against them winning something. I mean, they've been outstanding for 2 seasons. Last season, Manchester City won the league fairly well. This year, they pushed them so close. It was a dramatic season, went right to the last game, 1 point between them. I think, you know, anyone that's been watching football the last couple of seasons with an honest eye would say this team deserved to win a trophy. The manager, the spotlight was on him because he's lost 6 cup finals before tonight, 6 cup finals in a row. With Liverpool, he's lost Europa League final, Champions League final. If he lost again tonight, would people be looking at him a bit more critically than otherwise? And I'm glad for him. I have to say, I think he's brought something to the game in England. I think he fits in well with the whole Liverpool.
As a person, Brian,
yeah.
Liverpool is an emotional football club. He's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I just wonder if the 3 weeks off has affected Liverpool. I really do. You know, I said before the game, it's not ideal. As a player, I wouldn't want it. As a manager, I wouldn't want it, because Liverpool were nothing like what they've been all season.
No fluency to their game tonight in terms of build-up through the midfield. The sharp passing that I expected would trouble Spurs, and the high pressure on the Spurs back four didn't really happen. It was a patchy performance.
Yard off it.
It was patchy performance, but they won comfortably in the end.
And Liverpool get the trophy their sensational season deserves, and their fans get to celebrate at home and away. An early goal from the penalty spot from Mo Salah, a late one from Divock Origi, plenty saves from that inspirational goalkeeper Alisson. Delight at the full-time whistle. And what a moment for young 20-year-old Corkman Kevin Kelleher there, embraced by James Milner. He'll get a Champions League winners' medal. A young man with so much ahead of him. What a night for him to be a part of all this. The officials getting their medals. How much did what happened in the first minute of that game colour what turned out in terms of why the game was after that, Graham?
We can only second guess. Did Liverpool go into a shell a bit as early as the first, after 20 seconds, with getting the goal like that? They certainly didn't play their normal game. I thought Spurs should be proud of the way they played, tried to get themselves back in the game after going behind. It'd be easy to get frustrated with the way the penalty was given. But it's really hard to look beyond. When you look at the season, both in the Premier League and the season that Liverpool have had in this competition, they have been fabulous throughout. They were ordinary tonight, and they all know that. But they've ended up with their hands on a trophy. And you play in games of football sometimes where you play really well, you have all the chances, you have a bit of bad luck with goals disallowed or whatever, and you don't win the game. And sometimes you don't play well and you do win the game. Liverpool haven't played well tonight, they've won the game, but in terms of what they've done throughout the season, they deserve a big trophy. It had to be this or the Premier League. They've been fantastic. They've had a great season, Liverpool. So I'm absolutely thrilled for them to get their hands on this big trophy.
I wonder if Jurgen Klopp goes in and has a little quick word with the Tottenham players. Will he say to them, Niall, that we were in this position last year, you played well in this final, you've been a great team, take something from this, do what we did and move forward from this?
It doesn't happen a lot in football, Tommy. I think Gaelic football dressing rooms and rugby dressing rooms maybe, but if it were to happen, I think he would tell them to come back stronger than ever next year, because that's what Liverpool did. Now, they got helped in the transfer market, there's no doubt about that, and the goalkeeping position tells you that. Although Spurs' first shot on target came after 71 minutes, for 20 minutes they had a right go and they just couldn't get past Alisson, and he was a huge difference. But it was the attitude of the players to come back from last year, the shock of how the defeat happened, and I suppose it would have been easier to sort of cower away, but they got stronger, and I think that's all credit to the manager. And I don't know what Pochettino does now. I think, is it that, or does he go to Daniel Levy first and say, right, give me 5 or 6 next year and I'll stay and we'll have another go and get back here?
But it's always a powerful anthem wherever it is sung in the world of football, but on an occasion like this, especially so for Liverpool and those players who've been through so much, and those fans who've enjoyed them every step of the way. Niall Quinn, when you were at Sunderland as chairman, Jordan Henderson was a young player, and you mentioned it before the game. Did you ever think when he was coming through as a young lad, you'd see him lifting the Champions League trophy?
I didn't. I knew he'd get places. I knew he'd get further than his talent was showing at that time. There was a determination to just improve himself all the time, and I'm so proud just to see him there, because remember, I used to have little chats with him. I mean, Roy Keane was very good to him. To encourage him. We sent him out to Coventry on loan, and Ray Ranson got in touch after 2 weeks and said, will you let us have him till the end of the season? And he just makes an impact. He's a smashing person from a brilliant family, but he believes in teamwork, he believes in hard work, and he has bettered himself, in an example that I would give to any young player out there. Believe it or not, he was way down the pecking order. He wasn't the star of the academy. He worked his socks off, and wow, look where it's ended up.
Brian, is that kind of the theme of this Liverpool team and what Klopp has put in place? You talk about Henderson, but you also talk about players like Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, players who've shown that desire to work and improve themselves and get into his team.
Well, I think the manager has improved the players as well, or whatever the coaching work that's done. Those players, I mean, I go back to what I said about Robertson before the match. There wasn't a huge gang of clubs trying to sign him from Hull. It was a very clever piece of scouting or decision making to go that road. But look, Trent Alexander-Arnold, to bring a young player through from the youth team, when so many clubs will only put players into the team if they've paid 20 million or 50 million. How often do we say, where do you get a good defender? How much do you have to pay for a reliable centre-half now? Full-backs have become the most influential players in the game, bar the goal scorers. And they have two marvellous young full-backs. They've Gomez as well, who they bought cheap. Not fit enough really to start tonight, gets on near the end of the game. So he's built a real squad, and Graham has said that over and over again, that the back four, the back five could be playing for Liverpool for several years to come. And you building teams, you have to build from the back. You have to have a reliable goalkeeper, reliable centre-halves and good full-backs in the modern game. And they have that now. And you look the difference. You think about tonight, the joy of tonight compared to the despair of last year with the goalkeeper, Karius, thrown in 2 goals, really.
Compared to Alisson's performance tonight.
Compared to Alisson's performance. The investment, 75 million, was the highest fee for goalkeeper. But you can see the difference he makes, along with Van Dijk, how Matip has improved. So, you know, he has built the team, the manager. I'm kind of referring to the manager a lot because I think about him. I saw his behaviour the night they were beaten by Dortmund, or they were beaten by Bayern Munich when he was manager of Dortmund, with jammy goal late on with Robin. And they played really well in the match, and it was a harsh defeat. But after the game, his behaviour, I watched him walk around the stadium. He went to the Bayern end, even though their support, the Bayern club, were about to buy another 1 or 2 of his best players. Lewandowski went, Gomez went, Hummels went. He still just, I thought his behaviour on the night in such disappointment was wonderful. Last year he had to put up with taking the flak over not improving, not buying a goalkeeper when Mignolet was having a bad time with Karius. So he's lost 2 Champions League finals. If he lost again tonight, it's hard for a manager, I think, to take that.
Yeah, he's ended that run. Wow, that was incredibly emotional. He's not a man who keeps his...
Like that.
And I haven't seen him at that level. He's an emotional guy in terms of humour and passion, but that's another level.
Tommy, it's very hard if you're involved at that football club not to become involved in the passion that the supporters feel for that football club. Come back to it's a unique football club. You know, what can you say? You know, I was expecting a big night from them. You know, Liverpool that have shown all season didn't turn up tonight. Who cares? You know they've done more than enough to win this big trophy. You know, when you think of some of the performances they put in, some of the teams have beaten PSG, Bayern, Barcelona to get this far, haven't played brilliantly. Then you turn up tonight and it's a scruffy old game. Yeah. Did the occasion get to them? Some of them maybe. Did the scoring the penalties too early on, that put them in a different frame of mind? Possibly. At the end of the day, who cares? Because you only remember the winners in this game. It's harsh, it's professional sport, you only ever remember the winners, and they are winners. And the thing they'll get from this is great confidence. They could be back again next year, and several years to come, because we've touched on the age of this team, and they're not going anywhere. The manager will strengthen again this year. You know, you can see he's in love with being in Liverpool, he's in love being a Liverpool manager, and he now goes into history as an absolute legend. You know, and correctly so, not just for the trophy they won, but the brand of football they play. It excites you. You know, he plays a brand that gets you on the edge of your seat.
They've a cracking night in store, by the way, those Liverpool fans in Madrid. The man I feel sorry for is our co-commentator Kevin Kilban, the Everton legend who has to make his way out of the stadium and into town. I'm sure they'll be very generous towards him. But Brian touched on there, Niall, I want to come back to that. And you know, Manchester United fans, but if they're still watching, a lot of them probably would have turned off by now. They won't be enjoying this at all one bit. But we talked about the way clubs are run behind the scenes, and you know what Brian talked about there in terms of the way their signing policy. Liverpool seem to be a smart club, the way they do it. They invest wisely, bring through some players, but also when they needed to go out and make the big money signings, they did it well and bought the right players.
They sure did, and they dug it out of a real problem some years ago when John Henry came in, and there was the previous owners, Hicks and Gillette, were having a real tough time. Things looked as if they would never improve, and slowly but surely I suppose a way of working the club, the old Liverpool way, started to feel as if it was in the background there. Go back to when Kenny Dalglish tried to bring that in, got a trophy or two, and the new owners come in and brought it to a whole new level. And I think backing their man was important. Not long after he came, they improved his contract and said, yes, we like what you're doing. And also, it all filters down throughout the club. The whole club has to connect for it to hit full throttle. And that's where I think Klopp has been fantastic. He's connected with those people. They believe in him. He's bought into their passion. He's used it. He's made it, you know, flow deep into the players' minds and conscience. And you now see a Liverpool side who are not looking to better themselves to get a move. You see them united together in a way that ends up winning things. When great players come together because of great policy at a club, and they all tap into what the club's doctrine is about, and they feel it, they care it, they hurt when it's not good, they enjoy it together when it's great. Good things happen, and that's what's happening here tonight. And I have no allegiance to Liverpool, but I'm absolutely thrilled for them. And one Irishman as well, I think I'd like to mention at this point. That's Sean Cox. Poor man who, watching a Champions League game, met with a terrible fate. His family, this is big for them tonight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great sentiments there. Third rendition of You'll Never Walk Alone we've had.
That will not be the last.
Since that will not be the last. There'll be a fair few of them before they're finished tonight. Yeah, it's true, Brian, that what Niall says there about the values that they've managed to put in this modern football world that is so unbelievably cynical. And is perceived to be about, you know, put yourself first and try and, you know, better yourself. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of that goes on behind the scenes at Liverpool, but the impression is that they have the culture right within the club.
Yeah, the only unhappy-looking punter I saw among all that, I didn't think Daniel Sturridge looked over-elated with his situation where, you know, he would have been... he got on in the final last year, didn't he? Where he came on for Salah early in the game last year. But as this season's gone on, he's fallen down the pecking order and wasn't in the picture. But yeah, the culture, there's no doubt. Look, you know, I go matches, fortunate enough, in England on a regular basis. And when I go to the club, even when I go to Everton, there's something about both clubs when I go to them in terms of the behaviour of the people, the attitude of the staff, of the general staff around the place. There's a courteousness about them, but there's a knowledge about football and of football people and respect of football people. And you know, like Niall, I've no allegiance to Liverpool, but I am happy. I said I wouldn't be too upset if Spurs lost, because it's Liverpool beating them, because of how they've gone about their business the last couple of years. And I'm looking at Salah as well, his joy of how his performances were last year for club and country. He goes to the World Cup and he's not right after the injury in the Champions League final. Can't produce it at the World Cup, didn't do well enough, went off in the final of the Champions League, and now tonight he scores the opening goal.
Final bit on this Liverpool loving for the moment, Graham. Are they nearly back, or have they the potential to be back where they were when you were with them in those days? Yeah,
they have the potential. You know, I still think that they'll want to strengthen. They'll want to strengthen again. That's the way it should be. But Liverpool is... Scousers are unique.
Don't drop them, by the way.
Scousers are unique. Right. You know, you talk about why they play with such an honesty and there's a connection with supporters. You have to play a certain way at Liverpool. I know it's an easy cliche to say as long as you give 100%, supporters will be happy, but they make demands. It's not... You know, Liverpool is a small provincial town. You know, Manchester has a greater population of 4 million people. It's a big area. Liverpool is not a big place. So Liverpool, historically, have always punched well above their weight. And they have that, if you like, that inferiority complex, which makes them more aggressive and, you know, want to prove people wrong. It's a very, very unique city, Liverpool.
And he seems to have kind of got them. Do you remember the early games when he came in and he was looking around, wanted the crowd to back the team more, and as Niall said, they're kind of channeling between...
I don't think any manager would ever complain about the support that the supporters give at that football club.
Well, he did early on, Graham, didn't he? He had a go at them for leaving the game early, didn't he? Yeah. He took them on about that, and I think he influenced...
Yeah. There must be good supporters in Germany if he was criticising them, because they are, in my opinion, only my opinion, but they're the best supporters in the country. They give you when it's not going well there, they stick with you longer than they do anywhere else.
Klopp takes his bow. The run of 6 losing finals is over, and boy, is he delighted. Yeah, brilliant characters, aren't they? James Milner now, he's won 2 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup and a League Cup, obviously with Manchester City, the Champions League now, and the Europa League runner-up. So it's one thing eluding him. Brilliant career, isn't it?
He's, as I said, I worked with him, I think when I was at Newcastle, he was 18. And he got angry with me because I said in the papers once, you know, you're not going to win trophies with James Milner's. I didn't mean the quality of James Milner. It was, you know, with 18-year-olds, when you're at a big football club, you need some men around. But he's had a fantastic career, a really solid citizen. Not the most talented. He's a bit like Jordan Henderson, what you're talking about. Someone who's made himself a really good player. Someone that's just worked on his game. And someone you would want with you in the trenches.
So you're saying sometimes you get it wrong?
No, I was right. I knew he was going to be a player. Just how good he was going to be. He's ended up winning things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, you can admit it. It's the last night of the season.
I'm not going to say 18-year-old boy is never going to be good enough. Kill him right away.
Right, listen, let's get to the goals then, and the analysis. Niall, like a Champions League final, and you get a penalty in the first minute and you score. It doesn't get much better in terms of a start than that.
It doesn't, but it was curious because it happened so quick. I mean, the crowd hadn't settled in, really. The players hadn't settled in. Nothing had happened. There was a little bit of ping-pong and head tennis here. It was scruffy. And it ends up with what I suppose what we were going to see a lot of through the game was Van Dijk just bossing. You'll see Harry Kane here and just wins what looks innocuous-looking header. But the ball over the top leads to a little bit of trouble. And somehow Sissoko decides to put his arm way up in the air.
What's he trying? Why is he doing that?
He's telling somebody to go and mark someone at the back post and be careful. But he's as he's doing it, he gives the referee no option under the rules. We covered that.
No, it's totally unnecessary. He's running back towards his own goal, looking at the defensive picture. He doesn't need to put his arm up there.
There was a widespread reaction to that, by the way, chaps, that it was a harsh decision. Certainly Kevin Kilban in commentary, Brian, I don't know what you're taking it was saying, you know, he felt it was really harsh. In terms of what we've seen in the Champions League, though, this season, what do you think?
I still think it was harsh. I suppose it was the shock and surprise away in the game. Problem for Spurs, so my thoughts before the match were they conceded 7 goals in the first 15 matches in the Champions League this year. So
first 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Sorry, 15 minutes. And I'm thinking, if you're Pochettino, you know, one of the last bit of instructions might be, let's start well today.
Yeah.
Any team, don't give anything away. So there's a bit of head tennis, rough and tumble early on there. But it's a weird type of mistake. I don't think there was any intent, but reading the rule that Niall called out, the interpretation that referees, they're obviously working at trying to give the referees clear instructions on what is and isn't a handball.
That ball hits his chest first.
Yeah, well, I thought under
his
there,
chest
under his arm.
But his arm is out reach and it's above shoulder high. It's in what they call an unnatural position. And in this competition, the referees have been told they must give a penalty.
Can you help me here? I'm running back towards my own goal. I know the ball's there, but I'm looking at the picture.
Yeah.
I don't have to direct anybody. Everyone's got their
so
man
it's his fault. That's the point.
So he's running back
making.
doing that.
Correct. That's the problem. That's what caused the problem.
If there was a man short over there, I could understand him putting his arm up, but they weren't.
Yeah, if he'd had to... I was wondering, had he left his position, left his own man to go to close the door? But when you see the pictures, Spurs have plenty of players. They're 6'3". As only Rose is the only one. It looks like he might be pointing at Rose to say, make sure you have Salah. He could be pulling off the far post. But it didn't make any sense as to why he was pointing there.
So it was risky and ultimately completely pointless
totally
as well.
Unnecessary.
We'll get to what happened sort of in between in a moment. Let's just get Divock Origi's second goal in. And obviously this comes after a poor what was it, 85 minutes after that first goal from Liverpool. What a hero this man has been in terms of how he stepped up this season. An unlikely one.
His first touch is spectacular. Look, he loses his marker completely. The marker still has no idea where he is. And the ball comes to him. Great feet, great first touch, and he gets it out. And really, it's the only area he's going to beat Lloris then.
But look at Vertonghen here. Look at Vertonghen on the edge of the box. Look at your big centre-half duck, fall over and lose a little harmless header like that.
It's a good touch by Matip, though, for the centre-half as well in the box. Yeah. He played it, you know, the right way on the pass, that he was able to shift it out of his feet and get the shot away. Great contribution.
Lost him from the first movement on the corner and never recovered from it. And then Vertonghen, who we know is not the biggest and bravest, has a lady challenge when he goes to header it.
Just a word on him, and I know we kind of say unlikely hero, but he's popped up with some really crucial moments this season. He seems to be another player that could have been cast on the scrap heap, but the club kind of obviously saw something
He's
in.
He's
and
a young
said,
man, isn't he?
Yeah, and he had injury problems.
It sounds daft. I've yet to see him come on in a game and do cute and clever things. But what I've seen him do is come on and get important goals.
That's the second time he's been involved in the goals against Spurs this season in the vital league win at Anfield at 2-1. He was on the pitch that late in the match then.
Brian, have a look at the Spurs chances then. OK, so Spurs fans watching this game will see us talk about a great night for Liverpool, but they'll be looking back on this and thinking, God, on another night, something could have fallen for us. We could have got it to extra time. Were you impressed with the way they responded to going a goal down?
Yeah, I did. It took a long time for them to get going. There was little bits and flashes of this intricate passing. It was all very narrow, and every pass has to be precise. You're looking at Ali saying as he played one too many. Then Ericsson got more into the game when they made the change. It took off with the midfield players and brought Moura on, and he's more involved in it. That was a chance for Ali. It wasn't the best option to try and flick it up.
Yeah, that was the first shot on target. That was after 71 minutes. But in fairness, after that, they had a goal, didn't they?
Yeah, they had, but Liverpool's defending was called on tonight, and they defended very well. Spurs just didn't have the quality tonight in the end. Harry Kane, a little bit off. Late in the match, we saw flashes of him. This is a very good attempt. But, we've now got to the stage where we expect this goalkeeper to make those saves.
He had 8 saves this evening, Brian.
Yeah, well...
That's great.
Last 20 minutes. All in the last 20 minutes,
yeah. That was a good save, but the other one, the low-down one that he flicks away
when he makes a save, if he's not catching it, watch how far he gets it. He gets it away from the danger area.
This is the one, Graham, isn't it?
Well, that first one
here.
Look at that one. He gets it away from the danger area. Big, strong wrist.
Doesn't knock it back into the centre of the goal where someone gets onto the rebound and it's in the net. So, later on he had to do his stuff, but he hadn't much to do until 70 minutes.
But worth every penny that they spent on him last summer, particularly what happened in the Champions League.
He hit 170
That's
yards.
right.
Second half.
OK, a man who's off in the summer, sort of magnanimous enough, Mauricio Pochettino there after the night that was.
He's got a bit of class, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think they expected to get there. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not something you can sort of say or even sort of let your players think you're thinking that way, but they wouldn't have expected to win tonight.
Yeah.
Liverpool have got the Indian sign over them. They've got better players coming into the game with having lost one game in the league. A team that's beaten them twice this year already.
Yeah.
So he knew he was up against it, and they equipped themselves well. They weren't rolled over. They went a goal down, and they came back fighting.
Well, what about the decision to play Harry Kane then after 7 weeks out of football?
I think
how do you think it worked out though? We're going to see a few bits.
Not great. But if I'm Pochettino, I'm making that decision as well. It's easy to forget how good he is. Here he gets bullied, which he's not alone in getting bullied by Van Dijk. Van Dijk bullies everybody. He was a yard off, and that happens. He spent a large part of the 5 weeks he's been out injured sitting with his leg in the air, waiting for the swelling to go down. Then he comes back, he does his work, but that's not enough. The one place there again, just say he's eased out of it by Van Dijk or Matip. It's not enough. A striker is the one position that you have to be spot on, you have to be bang at it, you have to be match fit, match sharp. So if you're not, because that's the most difficult place to play, if you're not, the opportunities come and go for you. You're a yard short, you're thinking slower, your touch is not there. And he did okay, but it's not the Harry Kane we know is up there with the very best strikers in the world tonight. It was a shadow, and so is Firmino, but he's same situation, a striker again, having not had a lot of football. He'd
26 touches, the least of any starting player on the Spurs team, and won only 2 of his 6 aerial duels. Listen, it probably wasn't the decisive factor on the night, but it didn't work out for him. Lads, we've only a couple of minutes left, so I do want to leave on a reflective note about what we've seen this season. Niall, it's just been remarkable, hasn't it? Tonight people are saying it wasn't a great game, wasn't a great final, keeping what went before, but what a season.
Terrific campaign, it's the best we've ever seen. It was a privilege to be here and bring it back on again next year as quick as we can. It was just sensational. There's so much to go back. The Ajax story, incredible. Spurs, Amazing stuff.
Brian, last word to you. We didn't have Rory Gallagher with everything else though this season.
I think got enough for the last 2 days. I think the emergence of the Ajax, a great story in the modern game where money controls so much about it. The fact that they almost got there to the final, but the football has been sensational. So many of matches in the knockout rounds, in particular, the twists and turns, will live with us for a long time. The
Certainly
memories
will.
of those.
Yeah, it's been brilliant.
You know, I think a good winner tonight. You haven't lost last year.